Also a local candidate in the 23rd Legislative District, and she is running for House Representative Position 1. And I met this candidate also through Kitsap County Republican Party as a PCO and trainer for all the data information we need. So April Ferguson.
Thank you, Glennie. And also thank you for holding my baby. The baby you saw was actually my baby. There is nothing like, I got to start that off since you saw my baby up here. There is nothing like mothers and grandmothers standing up for the rights of their children and the future of their children. And I think that we're seeing a change in who's running for office this year. There's a lot of mothers running. There's a lot of conservative, liberty-minded mothers and grandmothers. We got Elizabeth, we got Pam, myself, and Elena Gonzalez-Blankton, which is, I don't see her here today, but she is also a mother. We're mothers and grandmothers, and we're running to defend our children's future. And, you know, in the past, I've been told by people, you should wait till your children are raised. And I'm like, no, we don't have time to wait till our children are raised. By the time our children are raised, they're not going to have the ability to enjoy the liberties that we still have left. And I specifically say still, because we don't have all of our liberties left. And so to start, I'm going to tell a little bit about my background. What inspired me to run starts with my own troubles and trials in life. And I was an early learning professional. I came out of a homeless background where most of my childhood I lived homeless. And I was a victim of child abuse and serious child negligence. And I wanted something different for my children. So I went to school for early learning. And I made a goal to open early learning centers where I could keep my children with me and run a business and make success for our future. And that was my dream. Within about a year after opening a 47-kid daycare center, I was a successful late 20s. One of my employees decided she wanted the daycare center. She and a couple other employees put in a couple dozen license complaints that resulted in over 100 violations, and I lost my business and my ability to ever work in daycare. Through deposition and fighting the state and those employees, they admitted to intentionally placing complaints in order to get me shut down. Those employees now own my daycare center, and I will never work in my field again. That hurt bad. It crushed me. And something that my lawyer said in his closing arguments, and one of the cases involved with that I won, was what the state has done to my client is much like what you read in the Declaration of Independence. Sent the king's officers in, swarms of the king's officers in, to harass our people and eat out their substance. They have eaten my client's substance out. And that's exactly what they did to me. But I had a choice right there in my life that I could accept that, and I decided that no man and no government decides my destiny. And so I started fighting. I started speaking that was my introduction to politics. I never wanted to be involved in politics. I wanted to be a mother. I wanted to own businesses. That's what I wanted. But I started going to Senate committee hearings and fighting against the Department of Early Learning and the overregulation of my field. And when I was there, I heard a senator in a Senate committee hearing that I spoke at that actually said, the Washington parents are not doing a good job. This bill will help us help Washington parents be better parents. That was said to defend the combining of two state agencies, the Department of Early Learning with DSHS Children's Administration. Washington parents are not doing a good job. Like it was the government's place to create laws to oversee our parenting. That's strong. That is a strong message that I needed to do more, and I needed to fight harder. I got involved in, I started off with the Tea Party. Marcus Carter, who's been fighting the violations against his rights for so many years, and it inspired me. I can do the same thing. So I've been fighting for years as well, and one of my cases goes to trial in October, a Public Records Act, where hundreds of documents were withheld from me. And after 6 years, I get to fight that in the courts. But that's the story behind what inspired me. And so when I got involved in politics, I saw a need in the Republican Party, and that was in the 23rd District. We haven't had any work in that district, organization to get out the vote and to also put Republican candidates on the ballot. So about a year and a half ago, I started recruiting precinct committee officers. I started using the data to network and build the 23rd District. And we're happy to say, for the first time in a long time, all 3 positions have candidates. We're actually working together, and we're fighting hard. And while, yes, it is an uphill climb, something I love is running uphill, because I love the success you feel when you get to the top. And so it is going to be an uphill climb. We've got a lot of votes to gain in the general, but we did gain a large amount of in the past elections, we get between 11 to 13,000 votes for the Republican Party. All of our candidates, all 3 of us, are at 18,000 and 19,000 votes right now. But the difference, though, is that with the Democrats, in my race, we had 4 Democrats running. I was the only Republican. We had Tara Simons and Leslie Doggs, 2 serious Democrat opponents, and they were fighting to get out the vote to be in the top 2. And so they dumped like a good 60. I mean, it was above $60,000+ into the districts versus our 4,000 that we each dumped. And so my message to you guys here really today is that, can you help the 23rd District out with making contributions towards Pam and myself so we can get out the vote and compete with those Democrat opponents that are pushing far left agenda. For example, Tara Simons, she's pushing for an income tax. She is running on the fact that she wants progressive taxes, and she's going to advocate hard for those progressive taxes. She's the one of those that signed the letter asking Inslee to release convicted convicts, back into our society. And what she did when she did that was, in her advocacy for second chances for prisoners, she overlooked the rights of, and she blatantly did it, of thousands of victims throughout this state. Victims in the state of Washington have the right to be heard and by the Washington State Constitution says this, they have the right to be heard prior to consideration of early release. But yet we pushed an emergency motion into the Supreme Court, and we only came one vote from seeing anyone over the age of 50 released. Tara Simons, my opponent, was part of that. She was part of trying to make that happen, overlooking the rights of victims. We need an Olympia, someone that will advocate for the people, but with reason, considering the rights of all people. And that's what I'll do in Olympia. I could use contributions as well as Pam, so if you'll visit the table here at the end, both myself and Pam have envelopes. Thank you.